upon a time, we used to treat feet problems by addressing feet and pelvic floor problems by addressing pelvic floors. But I hope you can see from following my account that pelvic floor issues are better addressed when you consider all of the things that can have an impact on your pelvic floor. So this might be your feet, but it also might be your hips. It also might be your abs or your thoracic spine or your head position, and that all of these factors play a role in pelvic floor function. And just like your pelvic floor can drive downstream effects to your foot can drive upstream effects to your pelvic floor. And so if you're having issues with your foot, you need to consider all of the factors that impact your foot, and your pelvic floor and your foot are very intertwined, both because of how the nerves function that help the two work together. But pelvic floor function and foot function are also intertwined from a mechanical standpoint, because your pelvic floor works with your hip to control the top of your leg, and your foot and your ankle control the bottom of your leg. But they're not separate from each other. So your foot can change the way that your hip works, your hip can change the way that your foot works. And so often, if you have a high arch and you have issues with shock absorption, that might look like joint pain or arthritis, or it might look like stress fractures, or it might look like pelvic floor issues with impact, like leaking or prolapse. So often the solution that's given to you is to cushion your shoes more. But in reality, the cushioning your shoes is only going to affect the way that your foot impacts the ground. And in reality, there's so many other factors that can better control the way that your foot hits the ground. And these are things like how much bend you have in your hips and so that was how much bend you have in your hips and your knees when you land, how much ability your foot has to roll inward, how much ability your hip has to roll inward with it, how much ability your trunk has to rotate with your hip, and that's why rotation is so key, especially if you're a runner, that we need all of these factors to work together to give you better shock absorption. It's not as simple as just putting a cushion under your shoe.